Hi, the episode is coming at you in just a minute. I just wanted to take a second to let you know that if you can, leave a 5-star review or follow us on your podcast platform of choice. That really helps the podcast and allows us to continue to provide a platform for independent musicians in Berlin. And it helps provide you, the listener, with more insights and experiences and advice from independent musicians that are living off music and making their way in the independent music scene here in Berlin and in Europe. Thank you very much, and I'll leave you to listen to the episode. Thank you. Yeah, cool. Should we do the clap to start? I'll do one and then you do one. Perfect. Welcome back to Unsigned Berlin. I'm sat here today with Bentez.
Hello.
And we'll start off with a little snippet and then get into it.
Deal breaker, so take a dumb trader, fucked up behavior. Do me a favor, entertain her.
Yeah, so we've been collaborating with a lot of people, and it's like when you're collaborating with lots of people, it's difficult. Well, it's difficult to get the project almost done, but when the rollout happens and you have all the social media stuff, how have you been able to deal with kind of coordinating schedules for that? Has it been a problem at all, or is it just like we'll post when we can and get it rolling?
You mean like content creation and stuff, like kind of like introducing the what do you mean exactly?
Like introducing the track and doing those videos of like, well, music videos or just music videos or videos including the music, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, I'd say I don't really have a tight schedule for that. It just kind of happens sometimes chaotically. Like I should kind of manage it a bit better. But it's usually like I prepare some stuff maybe like a few weeks before, and I try to like announce the single 2 weeks or so before that to kind of give some time for it to be like noticed. And then I think I'm actually quite bad with post release like promotion, because I feel like once the song is out, it's kind of like, okay, it's done.
Yeah.
But it's really not. And I feel like even actually like post release promotion is even more important than pre-release for like artists who are smaller or who don't have so much reach and exposure.
Yeah.
Because like it's more likely for something that you post after the release to end up being discovered by somebody who doesn't follow you already.
Yeah, and if they don't know who you are and you post something pre-release, like if you're posting pre-release, you're hoping people are getting excited for the release.
Yeah.
If they don't know who you are, they'll forget immediately.
Yeah, so it's just harder to create hype when like before the release in general, I feel like if you're not already like kind of like if there's not already clout around you, or if you're not already like, you know. But yeah, I haven't done too many music videos actually. I've done one. And usually I try to just do some sort of visual content, like just something that I film myself, or like this like animated visual thing, which is cool. But I guess music videos are always better to just have like a full product and like a full, you know, visual. But I feel like
that's so much harder to do.
Yeah, and I feel like it doesn't work so well recently as well. Like in general, it's not such a popular thing that artists do, like music videos.
It's more short form based, which
like
kind of sucks.
TikTok also, you know, like 30-second video where you just kind of, it could be anything. Like I've seen a lot of different kind of formats on how people do it. Some people just literally walk down the street, kind of like lip syncing to their song, and that's enough for people nowadays.
Which is also like kind of I mean, at least for me, that's a horrible thing to have to do. Like I'm so uncomfortable doing it.
Yeah, it's way easier though. It's way easier. And I guess if that works, if that is just how people like easily consume something, then it's cool. But I feel like it also takes away from the art and like the artistry and, you know, the value of the whole thing in a way.
Yeah, though I guess it's like a similar thing as standing on the street trying to sell CDs, in terms of it's just trying to reach people that don't know you.
Yeah.
But in a more permanently online way.
Yeah.
Was it Deal Breaker that had the animated lyric video with the eye?
With the eye. Yeah.
How did that happen? Did you reach out to an artist for it, or?
So a friend of mine who also like wrote the song with me. So it was 5 people in that session when we wrote the song.
Right.
And he's a producer, and he's also like doing artworks and like designs and stuff like that. So we talked to him about it, and I showed him like a reference photo, and yeah, it turned out really, really great. He did like multiple kind of the same design, but in like different formats or like slightly different from each other. And because this song also got released through a label that I'm working with right now, Cloud Kid. And they did like the visualizer and stuff, how it like when the eye is like blinking and it's closing and like the text is like moving a bit. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Has that been a distribution type of setup with the label, or how's that?
It's publishing, distribution, publishing.
Right.
Also promotion. Like they just kind of take the song and drive traffic to it on Spotify, social media, and stuff like that.
Nice. And is that with True?
Yeah, True, and Apollo on the run.
Right.
So it's the three of us. Yeah.
Coming off of like Enemy had really, really great reception. Coming off of that and being like, okay, we have to move forward and release another thing. Is there a different mindset? Is it kind of like we want to do something similar to Enemy but different, or are you just trying to separate mentally and be like, we're doing art?
You mean like this is one thing, I'm going to do something like?
Did you change the way that you're doing songwriting having had the success behind Enemy?
No, I don't think so. I think like I'm obviously not trying to make the same thing over and over again just because it was like liked by people.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like recreate it. But I'm still trying to stick to like a cohesive, songwriting and like lyricism and everything. So to kind of like establish a brand and everything. Because I can't like, I release Enemy and then I make like a funk pop track or like, I don't know, rock,
drum and bass track or something.
Yeah, like,
well, I guess that would be dance still, but
like it could be different. Like it could be even slightly different genre, but I feel like it still needs to, in a way, relate to the previous song somehow. Like whether that is lyrics or just the vibe in general, like the vocal melody, whatever it is. I feel like it still needs to have like a foundation that's kind of the same and it's familiar to the people that, for example, like and listen to Enemy, and they would hear the other song and be like, okay, that's different, but it still has that thing that I liked in the previous song,
Yeah, so it still connects with the people that want to connect with it.
Yeah.
With the lyrics, a lot of it's very vulnerable. It's about ego and like self-destructive behavior and that kind of thing. Do you ever feel like limited by it or any way, or do you feel like it's really gives you a lot of freedom to be able to talk about those things to not no one as in nobody's listening, but no one specifically? Does that make sense?
Can you?
Do you feel like it's liberating or limiting to kind of have this set of topics to talk about?
It could be both, I think. Like right now, I feel like I'm struggling a bit. Like right now, as of like the last couple of days, I think I'm struggling a bit to express myself. I'm not sure how to, because I want to get away from the topics that I've written up until now, but I don't want to get away completely because it is still kind of something that's part of my life in a way that I still have things to like say about it. But then I also don't want to go in circles and say the same words and express myself in the exact same way. So I feel like it could be both. Like, I think maybe if I don't overthink it too much and just kind of let it out instead of, I don't know if it's the same for you, but sometimes I'm thinking, oh, hey, like I have to write a song that's good and like it's catchy and it's this and that. And I look at it more as like a product than like a song, than something that I'm like pouring my heart out. Yeah. And it makes it harder to write or to just kind of let myself experience these emotions that I want to experience or kind of put it in words,
Yeah. No, I definitely have the same thing. When you're, especially if it's mental health type of things, then especially being like a cishet white guy, it's like part of me is like, oh, I don't have any right to talk about struggles or whatever, because really I don't have any comparative to lots and lots of people. Or even just talking about like insecurities is such a weird thing to try to write about or sing about or whatever. And then put confidence behind it as a song to promote it, where you're like, these are things that I'm not comfortable talking about by definition of it's a mental health struggle. And then I'm trying to be confident. Does that make any sense?
Kind of. So you're saying like writing a song about your insecurities but then having the confidence to promote it. Is that what you're saying?
And to actually write it and put it on paper and be like, this is definitely how I feel.
But isn't that a very rewarding feeling though? Like to you, just as a person, to be able to say all these things, like that takes a lot of strength to just to be able to be vulnerable. And I always like seek vulnerability within an artist. Like you can kind of just feel it in just the way they pronounce a word even, or the choice of words. And I think, there's a lot of like power to be able to put your emotions and then be like, this is what I made, listen to it and kind of like.
And there's a skill to it as well of figuring out how it works for you and what kind of words or what kind of phrases are communicating what you want to communicate, but maybe not too obviously, and that kind of thing as well, where you don't want to say something directly because then it's not interesting, like, and it's not...
Use metaphors, you mean?
Yeah, like that kind of thing of just not saying... I don't know, we had Laura Alden recently came on the podcast and she was talking about how she tries not to use the word love in her songs because it's just such like a coverall word, and that kind of thing of trying to make it good songwriting but also still communicate efficiently. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you, when you're approaching a song for that kind of thing, do you have a emotion in mind or something you want to say, or is it more improvising at the time and just seeing what comes out?
It's very different every time. And also because I have different, I have kind of like two methods of writing. When I write with people in sessions, and then I write by myself at home, and very different experiences. Like whenever I am in the session, I feel kind of a little bit more secure and confident because I know that I'm surrounded by like 2 or 3 people, or sometimes 4 in the room who like super talented, skilled, they know what they're doing. And if I get stuck, if I don't know what the next part is going to be, like lyrics, melody, whatever, I know they got me, you know? And it's just more like, I'm not so stressed in a way, or I'm not doubting myself so much. And it's very different when I'm by myself because I feel a lot more pressure.
Right.
And it's much harder to make decisions because I'm like, okay, but is this really what I want to say? Is this really how I want it to go? I don't know. For some reason, I feel a bit more pressure.
Right.
Also, maybe in a way, freedom, because I know that even if it's not so good as just me, like nobody's gonna, say something about it, whether bad or good. Like there's not gonna be any feedback. If I don't like it, then I'll just delete it, start something new.
Yeah, that's definitely more how I feel. Like almost the opposite. In sessions, I feel pressure to perform well every time.
That's also,
especially with talented people, where you're like, I want to have earned my place in this room almost. And sometimes people are really great at it and you feel really comfortable and they have done a good job of creating the environment. But generally when I'm at home alone, then I feel like, I can fuck up 100 times and no one's going to know. And then the one time that was good will eventually be published, maybe.
Yeah, it's very freeing, I guess. And there is a bit pressure when you're in a room with people, but I don't know, I've had a few sessions where I felt like I'm putting pressure on people because I don't know what I want to say. And so they're like, okay, but like we're making a song for you. So like, what do you want to say? And I'm like, I don't know. And then, they kind of like have to jump in that role as well of like almost not being the artist, but like kind of helping me figure out what I want to say.
Yeah,
and
like
I feel like
co-songwriter type of.
Yeah, and I feel like that's not... like it's not desirable. I don't want it to be like that. But just sometimes, I kind of like it's hard to get words out and ideas and stuff like that. So yeah.
What do those sessions typically look like? Is it the producers come with a beat and then it's like, okay, let's turn this into a song, or is it starting from zero?
Yeah, zero. Like we just start from scratch. Like we usually listen to a few songs first, like maybe like reference tracks, something that I've listened throughout the week that I like. And then I show it to them, and then they're like, oh, okay, I know a song that's kind of like this vibe, like something different. And then we just listen to music back and forth. And then we just kind of start, I don't even remember. It just kind of starts from something, from somewhere. And then we just build it up. I really like long sessions, like where we started and we finish it the same day. Like that's the best
super
thing.
Satisfying.
The best thing, I swear. Even if it takes like 10 to 12 hours sometimes, I think the longest session I've had is, I think, around 10, 12 hours, which was very exhausting, but so rewarding, like so nice. And it was just generally like very fun to be in the room with these people. Yeah. And then you leave like listening to that song on your way back home. Like I do that, and that's actually not so good that I do it.
Same.
Like listening on repeat to the point where I can hear like details that I'm like, this could be better. It could be like perfectionism in a way, but that doesn't necessarily, it's not really beneficial sometimes for the song. Like it doesn't need it to be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you have producers to deal with that.
That's true. That's true.
Why have you started to get into producing your own stuff?
Why?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, yeah, but also like
No, I'm kidding.
It's a whole nother skill to learn, and it's a lot of work. But what's interesting about it to you?
I think, I don't know, production. As you said, it's a whole another skill and art in itself. And I think I do have some sort of like natural kind of, I wouldn't say talent, but kind of a natural feeling how to do it. But I just don't know. I don't have the skills. I don't have the knowledge to like perfect it. But sometimes when it works out, when I make something that I really enjoy, I'm like, it's again very, very rewarding. Like I feel like, okay, I did this all by myself. And I know that there are people who are gonna do it like 100% better than me, you know.
There's
and
always people that will.
But it's just a different feeling when I know that I can do it myself. And like hopefully one day I want to release music that I've produced myself as well. Maybe with like co-produced, maybe start from there, co-produced.
When you're doing that, are you still starting from a songwriting perspective where you have a melody and maybe some lyrics and then building everything?
No, I start with a production actually.
Right.
So like just picking like sounds, like creating a sound palette in a way, like sounds that I like.
Right.
And just the general vibe of it sonically. And then like chord progression, drums, like the groove. And then actually I start writing on it, which is weird. I always think it's weird.
That's what I do.
Yeah?
Yeah. Though not collecting sounds first. I'm very, I mean, in terms of projects and stuff, I like to think I'm good at planning. But for making a song, never. It's always like make one thing and then go find a sample or something that'll fit it.
Okay.
But it's interesting that you have everything kind of ready to go, like a palette.
Do you use Splice for example?
Yeah, I didn't for a long time because I was like, it's all bad samples, or I don't know what I told myself.
Quite good. I actually recently also got it, and it's a game changer, I have to admit. Because I'm not so good with drums. I think this is the I mean, I'm also not good at other things, but this specifically is like really annoying because I don't know what kind of groove I want. Is it gonna be like more of a down tempo or like?
Oh right.
Like, I'm not sure. And this is kind of the last thing that I make. And when I got Splice, I just kind of browse and try it out. And it's just way easier because even if I don't use that exact sample, I kind of know what the groove is that I want to have. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then do you typically use a MIDI controller to play them, or are you drawing?
Yeah, I have like the smallest MIDI, like it's literally this big. It has
is
like
it MPK?
It has like 2 octaves. It's very annoying. I can't even put like both of my hands on it. I have to like, it's very...
And the keys are a little bit smaller as well. So it's like,
it's annoying. But I need to upgrade.
Yeah. Part of the learning process.
Yeah.
Has there been anything from your, how long have you been songwriting?
Good question. I don't think that long. Like basically since I came to Berlin, I think, which was now 2.5 years ago almost.
Right.
Crazy. And basically when I first started studying music in Berlin, I was studying vocals. So again, I didn't really know too much about songwriting. Like I kind of again had like a feeling for it, but I wasn't aware of what I'm doing. Now I kind of know, like I can see, kind of analyze my own songwriting, be like, okay, I did that because of this, and then kind of, it just makes more sense in my head now. So I would say when I switched from vocals to songwriting, that's kind of when I started writing.
Right.
So this was like, let's say 2 years ago now, something like that.
Has there been anything in that time that was like something you learned maybe, or something you just figured out that clicked and you were like, oh, the songs are so much better now than they were yesterday?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Was there anything that you learned? It could be from studying or from YouTube or just from trial and error, like just something that clicked in your mind when you were writing that you were like, this is such a useful thing.
Interesting. I think many things that I can use in different contexts. Like a big one for me, like I guess this took me a lot of time to figure out, okay, how do I make like a really nice chorus? Right. And I think this is also the thing that people, it's like the chorus is the part of the song. Like,
especially for your kind of genre where it's like
pop music. Yeah, definitely. And there's so many different approaches for a chorus. It's crazy. I guess the thing that I've noticed that I do is kind of having like a chorus that starts on the one, and it's kind of like, how do I say it? It's just very, that it's the chorus. Like it's not like the chorus is coming in, but you don't know it yet. It's like, this is the chorus. I think this is something that I do usually, which sometimes works really well. Other times I'm like, okay, that's a bit boring. Maybe I could do it in a different way, like a bit better, or like a little bit more alternative, so that it's not so like, okay, yeah, we get it. We get it. It's the chorus,
How much of your writing is rewriting? Like how much usually do you finish a song, you're like, done? Or is it going back and changing it months later?
Oh, yeah. Well, I really don't like doing that, like going back and changing stuff, because I think whatever your intuition is telling you to do, firstly, like whatever idea you come up with in the first session or first time you're writing that song, that should be it,
right? In
a way. And if it's not that good, okay. But going back and changing it like few times even, which I've done actually for a single that's going to come out in December. It was such a trip with that song because I changed the lyrics 3 or 4 times and kind of changing the perspectives of changing the perspective of the lyrics, and then also the melody, the structure, like a lot of things were kind of like unstable up until like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I'm really happy with it now. And it's like, I think an exception of a song that I went back to change. But usually when I get too stuck on it, I'm not so excited for it anymore. Yeah. And it just doesn't bring me like the same emotion that it used to.
Yeah. It's kind of capturing an emotion at a time and then trying to fix it later sometimes doesn't.
Yeah. And that's also another reason why I really love sessions, because if we have a long session, we do the full song and we finish it, it's less likely to go back and change stuff because it's just kind of set. And like, especially if I listen to it a lot of times, I just get used to it. And even if something is bothering me the first few times, I get used to it. So I'm like, it's good. Like we don't need to change anything.
Yeah.
But if I do it on my own, like if I'm writing on my own, God, it's so hard to finish a song because I just keep thinking it could be better. It could be better. I could do this part differently. And because I know that it's up to me, I could just go on for forever. Yeah.
Have you always been interested in doing pop? Or was
pop
it something
music.
else before? Yeah.
Yeah. I've always been
always been pop.
It's always been pop. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, since I was a kid, like Lady Gaga is such a huge inspiration, and like Rihanna, Shakira, like all the like pop divas from like the early 2000s have kind of raised me, have shaped me to be the human I am now.
Do you remember an album specifically that got you onto pop?
I don't know. I think Fame Monster by Lady Gaga, like that album, I think it's her first one. I don't know. She has like... You can check it out. Yeah. I think basically the album with like Paparazzi and
Oh yeah,
Love Game.
They're like black latex.
Yeah, exactly. And like Poker Face, like basically when she just started out,
right,
and then blew up instantly. This album.
Yeah, it's an interesting genre to get into, because I feel like if you're doing indie music and you're starting out, it's like, oh, well, this is what indie bands do. They're small, but then for pop, it's almost part of it is that it's a really, really collective art of like lots and lots of people enjoy it. And you have your top cities on Spotify are in different countries. It's like Sao Paulo and Delhi and Mexico City.
How do you know?
It comes up on the profile.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. I was like, how did you get that information? Okay.
And I was wondering how you've thought about live shows in terms of, if your listeners are in other places, it's obviously difficult to do that.
Right.
Have you thought about that at all?
I would start doing live shows in Berlin first. I'm not sure when I'm going to start doing live shows. That's a different topic.
Yeah.
But I think I would start with the place that I'm based in, and the place where I also know other artists that I can do a show with. So like invite maybe 2 other acts that have like similar vibe, and that would bring similar audience. I think that's like the logical thing to do. But of course, I'd love to also travel and do shows in different cities, different countries.
It's cool cities as well.
That'd be sick.
It's like Brazil,
Can you say
India,
again?
Mexico. Sao Paulo, Brazil, Delhi, India, and Mexico. Well, Mexico City, Mexico.
Okay.
It's cool cities too.
Crazy. Yeah, cool.
And for that, do you think you would like to rearrange everything to have a band, or stick with the digital?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd love to. I'd love to mix kind of live and backing tracks, and just kind of do like it's gonna be again a digital, like more of a digital performance with the backing tracks. But also, I'd love to have musicians with me on stage. Maybe not like a full on band, but like a drummer would be sick, and then bass player, and maybe a guitar, which that is a full band. But but kind of like mix the two, like mix the organic with the more electronic vibe.
Yeah,
that would be like ideal scenario for me.
Yeah. So for the producers, would they like to be on stage DJing, or in the music videos, in terms of the projects they have with you? Or more behind the scenes?
Well, because they both have like their own artist projects, and like True Thomas, he has his artist project, but he's also a producer, like producing for other people and having sessions and stuff like that. And then Apollo, like right now, he's really developing his project. So it would be sick actually if we can like perform together. Like if I have, the thing is though that he's based in the UK.
Right. Which is hard.
So it's gonna be hard to like navigate. But if I have a show, and he kind of comes also, like started coming to Berlin more often.
Nice.
Which is cool. He was here last month, and I think he's coming back soon. So if I were to have a live show, or he has a live show, would be sick if I could be like a guest artist for him, or the other way around.
Yeah. It's also cool to have the connection in terms of live shows to the UK, because there's a big scene there still.
Yeah.
Is there another place do you want to stay in Berlin for a long time and keep doing music here, or is there another place you want to go?
As of right now, like as of the next 2 to 3 years, or maybe more, or maybe less, I don't know. I'll stay here, I think, because I think I found like a good sort of balance, and I've met a lot of cool people, and I realized that the pop scene here is quite big actually, which I didn't know before. Like I kind of just like when I started meeting more people from it, I was like, okay, this is like that's a thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I think going back to the UK, for example, like to London, which is something that a lot of people do, and like for music especially, and I get it. But I think over there it's super hard to kind of like build everything new, and like connections and meeting people and stuff. And I know that it's also super diverse, like it's in Berlin, like the culture, and they have everything. But yeah, as of right now, I think I'm staying in Berlin.
Yeah, nice.
I'd love to go to the US at some point as well.
Whereabouts? LA?
New York.
New York. Yeah.
LA also, but I'd go there to maybe just write mostly. Like go to a songwriting camp or like go there for like a month to write with some people and make some new music and then go back to Berlin.
They're all like scary industries as well. Like in Berlin, it's big. There's lots of music happening, but it feels kind of small at the same time, even though especially the English-speaking music making community is a lot smaller. But London seems so big in terms of music, and same with New York or LA that it's like when you like come off the flight and you're like, what do I do? How does it work?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it could be a bit overwhelming, I could imagine, especially if you don't know anybody. Like if I have no connections at all and I'm just like, I'm just gonna go there and see how it is. Like I think I'm gonna struggle a bit. I mean, I would meet people. I don't think like I struggle with like just meeting new people, but it's like, where do I start? Like, where should I go? Like, what are the places to go? So I feel like I should kind of be well informed about the place that I'm going to and kind of know at least a few people, you know, before going there to just kind of know what's happening, what to do.
Did you have anyone in Berlin when you moved here?
No.
No.
No. But I guess, I don't know, I was a bit younger, so I was like,
and you have the structure of university as well.
Also,
where it's like, here's a bunch of musicians to meet.
Exactly. Like I knew that I was going to meet people. I mean, not going to lie, it was quite scary because I was never also in Germany before, in Berlin, before I came here. So like I literally didn't know what the city looked like or anything about it. Like I just knew the main monuments. Like the TV tower in Alexanderplatz, and that's it.
And then you go to the EAW Gelände where our uni is, and it's like the floor's all broken up, and there's like, you can buy cocaine there, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. But I mean, it was scary, but also exciting. So I guess it would be the same thing as with like moving somewhere else. But I feel like as you get a little bit older, I'm not saying that I'm old, but as you get older, you kind of, you're not so maybe eager to do like risky things or like to just kind of get out of your comfort zone in such a drastic way where you would move like countries and stuff.
Yeah. And when you were starting, you're Bulgarian, right?
Right.
Yeah. When you were starting going through the Bulgarian scene and you were on The Voice, if I'm right?
Yes.
Voice of Bulgaria. Right. What was starting out there like? How did you just apply for The Voice Bulgaria or?
Yeah. So it's a fun story. Basically, I was very young as well. I was 14 when I auditioned and when I was there. And I was taking like vocal lessons and like music theory lessons in this like private school type of thing in my city. And my vocal coach kind of like, she was very, very sort of like excited for me to do this, and she was the person who convinced me to do this. Like, and she kind of just told me that I'm gonna do this. It wasn't really a question. It wasn't like, do you want to? It was like, oh yeah, you're doing that, by the way. And I was like, okay, I guess. I mean, I refused at first, but then she was like, come on, just give it a try. Just see what happens. And I did, and it turned out great. Like I got to like the live concerts, which was crazy because I don't know, at 14 years old, it's just kind of the whole experience was very crazy. I couldn't believe, like, I don't think I realized the sort of impact that it had on me in general. And like the fact that this show is broadcasted to like the whole country, and like, like it's not just about the people that are in the room, that like the audience and like the judges or the team behind the scenes. It's like millions of people watching. I really don't think that I was aware of that. Yeah. And
especially if you're going from like singing in your living room to that, like it's too much to process almost.
It was crazy. And also I think back then I wasn't too like, I just started like having lessons in general. Like I just kind of started getting into singing. That's why I was also like, how on earth am I gonna do this? Like I'm not so skilled. I'm not so experienced yet. But it turned out pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah. And with the process for that, like how many stages are there behind, like before you even get to the live performances?
All right. So there's the blind audition, which is when the judges are like turned around.
Yeah.
Like they have to turn around.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a knockout, or no, I don't know. There's like it's like a duel between between two people of each team, and at every single stage of that audition, like of that competition, I was like, okay, this is where I'm going. Like, and it never happened. I was like, okay, now it's the time. Now it's the time, and it didn't happen. So there's the duel, and then there's knockouts, which is kind of, I think, all the people that are left in the team have around a minute or 2 minutes to sing a song to just kind of like showcase, and we're all on stage. It's all happening like at the same time, and then the judge has to pick, I think, one person to continue to the live. Like I think we were 4 or something, so he had to pick only one. So I think that's when I got to the live concerts.
Right. Which was the scariest, like the most nerve-wracking level? I feel like for me it would be the chairs.
Oh no, that was easy. That was easy. That was the easiest one because I didn't have any expectations. Like I didn't care so much. Like it wasn't something. If nobody turned around, sure, my ego would have been a bit hurt, but then I wouldn't have anything to lose, right? And as you go further in the competition, you start thinking, I could actually win this. Like I could potentially win this, or like get something from it, whether that being like attention or win the money, or like I think the prize was money. Don't remember the amount, and then like
anything when you're 14.
When you're 14, exactly, and yeah. So as you get further, you just kind of develop this mindset that you might actually get further and further, and you want to. It's like a competition, so you also get competitive. So I guess I don't know the most nerve-wracking one, maybe the live one, because I knew that then it's just like it's all happening right, like live. Like if I mess up, if I really mess up, there's no way they're gonna cut it out or something. It's just gonna go on everyone's TVs, and that's that. You know?
Do you think that affected your route to music? Do you think if you didn't do that, maybe you wouldn't be doing music?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, for sure. I think it was definitely learning experience. Very different learning experience from what I get now. But for sure, I guess it made me more comfortable being in front of a camera, for sure. Right. Because when we started shooting, I was a little nervous and it was a bit intimidating. But when you're a kid, because I was a kid back then, 14. When you're a kid, I think you're willing to like you're not so scared of stuff. You're not so in your head as well. Like I didn't really have anxiety back then, or maybe actually that's when my anxiety started showing up because of all like everything. And yeah, I got more comfortable being on stage as well. Although I haven't been on stage in a long time now, like especially performing my own music. But for sure, it was just very like reassuring in a way. Also, the team was great, like very supportive.
Nice.
They knew I was young, so they were kind of treating me like an adult, but also kind of keeping in mind that I'm young and like in a way fragile. Like I don't have the same mindset that people who are in their early or late 20s have. You know?
When you were starting to learn to sing, was that the first thing musically you were doing, or were you learning stuff before that?
Yeah, singing. I started with singing and like a little bit of piano, like music theory.
How old were you then? So 13-ish, probably.
Like, yeah, I think so. Like, or maybe actually, I think I started around 11, 12.
Right.
But I was going to a vocal coach that we just didn't match too well. So it was like really first steps, and then when I switched to the other vocal coach who like pushed me to do the voice, then I actually started learning and like improving and everything.
So before that, when you were trying to think, that Lady Gaga album came out way before
we're going
that.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just thinking of like when you're listening to all the like Shakira and Lady Gaga and all of that. Were you already interested in doing music, or just enjoying it at that time and not thinking?
I don't know. I really don't remember. I think I was just fascinated by how like powerful and confident they are, and I was like, I want to be like that when I grow up. I didn't know how exactly, like if I would be making music? I guess so. I guess like subconsciously at least, like I like the way they were dancing, carrying themselves, just like especially in their music videos, how they're just like so confident and so like powerful and fierce and everything. And yeah, I think the idea of making my own music came way later, like probably when I came here. Like I actually realized, okay, this is happening. This is what I want to do. Before that, I was just enjoying singing and training my voice and just kind of getting better with technique and with this and that. And I was just really enjoying just doing covers and stuff. Now I cannot do covers. I can, like, depends on the song, I think, and depends in like what kind of style version it's gonna be. But ever since I know I can make my own music, is just not so like so.
It's not as fun.
Yeah, it's just it's fine. It's okay if you do like a very interesting cover that hasn't been done before to like a song that's has a different original. Then it's cool, but it's just not the same satisfaction that you get from writing your own material.
Yeah. And I think also when you're growing up, it takes some time to even realize that, like, at least for me, and it sounds stupid, that making music is a thing that you can do with your life. Like, there's obviously, if you're learning an instrument or whatever, it's like, oh, you can be a singer, but then there's all of the jobs behind that people often like forget about, or all the work behind it as well. Where it's like someone like Lady Gaga isn't like, she sings, but she's not like a singer. She also does all of this other stuff.
Oh yeah.
And at least for me, it took I didn't even really know production was a thing, even while I was doing my little after school club when I was 11. And it was, took a long time to figure that out. Are you still interested in doing songwriting and singing as the main thing, or are you interested in doing other stuff in music?
Can you give an example of other stuff in music?
Well, partially it could be songwriting for other people.
Yeah.
Or getting into session vocals.
Right. Like being a session vocalist, you mean?
Yeah.
I think I do, like, I definitely will keep writing for myself and singing. That's for sure. Probably until I die. Like, I just have to do it, you know? Like, just to survive in this world. And I would love to write for other people, actually. And I'm trying to get more into that now. I'm trying to just like connect with artists that, not that they need a songwriter, but they just like to try it out, like try having a session with the songwriter. Because I've never really written for someone else. Like, I would say I'm a songwriter, but I've only written for myself. So then it's not really like, I'm not actually a songwriter until I write a song for someone else, you know, with someone else for their project. And
kind of, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
The feeling I get.
Like, yeah. And just like, you can't like really, it can't be your job if you're not really doing it the proper way, kind of. Like, not that there's a proper way, but you
I
know
understand
what I mean.
What you mean. Where I have the same with production, where it's like, I feel like I can't call myself a producer if I'm just making my own stuff.
Yeah.
But if I'm working with other people and providing it as something that people are willing to pay for or anything like that.
Exactly. And actually also I would do vocals for like session vocalists, but it depends for what kind of project and like what are the circumstances and requirements and everything. But I think I do it too because I enjoy this is gonna sound so narcissistic, but I do enjoy just like listening to my voice on like different tracks. So and it's interesting to me how, for example, if someone sends me a demo with the vocal already recorded, how I would interpret it or like how I would do it, even if the song is not my favorite thing in the world or it's different from what I'm used to listening to or doing. It's just still like, I'm just curious, how would I do it? And then if it turns out good, then even better. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we've done about 45 minutes. So,
cool.
Before we finish off, is there anything you want to promote?
When did you say you're releasing this? On
maybe Friday.
Okay. Well, it's a bit early to do that, but I have a single coming out in December, on the 6th of December. That's all I'm going to say because it's very early. So
and we'll have everything in the description. So follow us, please. Thank you very much for listening. Follow Bentez. We'll have all the links in the description. If you can leave a review on your podcast platform of choice, that helps us a lot. And yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Done.
Cool.